You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Welcome to our show, True Secrets of Life. This is a show where I am going to share with you the most important true secrets of life to avoid anxiety, depression, and heartbreak. And yes, why don't we call them just secrets of life and we call them true secrets of life? It's because they're based on the acronym TRUE, based on respect, trust, understanding, and evolving as individual as well as together. Just a reminder that the truth is not always easy to hear, and these true secrets of life that I share with you are not necessarily what you really want to hear. Nevertheless, is what you need to hear because you do want to avoid heartbreak, anxiety, and depression in your life. So with no further ado, today's the most important true secret of life is...
In life, you can master the game of suffering or the game of life, but you can't master both in the same time. What a great topic, Anna.
I know.
Let me start by asking you a question. Isn't that how radio shows go? Yeah. Well, here you are as a nationwide personality now and an expert in her field. So, Ann, the first question is, are more people playing the game of suffering or more people are they playing the game of life?
So, very interesting question, Dr. Stan, because when I was in suffering for 27 years of my life, I believe that life is suffering. So while I was playing the game of suffering, I only met people who were playing the game of suffering. I never met anybody else happy. I thought that happiness is only on TV, the actors pretending to be happy, because this is their role, right? To pretend. So I never believed that there is another game of life. I just never believe it exists. So suffering was normal for somebody who was in depression since childhood, right? Suffering was normal for somebody who had an alcoholic mother like I did, right, who was abandoned by her father like I did, right? And I thought that everybody was playing the same game, the game of suffering. So we're just having different levels of suffering, right?
Yeah.
And when I overcame depression, I realized that that is not true. There is another world out there of people happy and successful in all areas of their life, from relationships to health to money to absolutely everything. It's like I discovered another planet in the same planet, right? So it was just absolutely unimaginable because not everybody is playing the game of suffering like I believed.
When we say, Anna, that more people are playing the game of suffering, is that's all they talk about? Or what does that mean when people are playing that game? Are they just in the middle of that situation and they want the world to know and they keep saying it over and over? Or what's happening to them?
They believe that life is suffering. They don't see another world. They were raised like this in a lot of emotional wounding, in a lot of depression, in a lot of unfortunate circumstances. Could be financial, could be emotional, could be relationship, circumstances, could be divorces, right? So they believe that life is hard. And for everybody out there, just take a second to think about, what do you truly believe?
Right.
Do you believe that life is hard? Do you believe that life is suffering and this is the only way to just try to fight with it? Because I found out that fighting with life will going to get you to a losing game. You really can't fight with an ocean, right? You need to learn how to surf on the ocean. You need to learn how to make your life easier on the ocean of life. Right. Because if you keep fighting and fighting, at some point you're going to drown, right?
Or die or whatever
exactly.
the terrible thing is.
And at the age of 38, I faced that moment where I was diagnosed with the same disease my mom died from at the age of 55 overnight. So that practically meant that I can have one night to live. Now what? I'm just 38 with a 9-year-old kid home. So it's the moment where it was make it or break it, right? And it's the moment when I overcame depression. And today I guide people out of depression. This is what I do.
You are not just national, you're international.
Yes.
You take care of people all over the world. So if they need your help, how do they get a hold of you if they have questions for you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me would be on our website, truesecretsoflife.com,
Okay.
where they can join our academy. We have all the time videos, and we have one-on-one connections with people for them to understand that it doesn't matter what you went through. It really doesn't matter how hard your life was. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, when you're ready to learn from scratch to play another game, it is possible. And it takes sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes 7 months, but it doesn't take decades. And this is what's important, because a lot of us have suffered for decades, and we think that needs another couple of decades to heal from this, right? Mm-hmm. And this is not true. This
A
is
lot of
misconception.
people are young and they're going through depression. I have grandchildren that have been diagnosed with depression. I have adult children. So we all can have it. It's not in just one age group, right? It's everywhere.
No. It's everywhere, and usually depression is a generational condition.
Really?
Yes, so it's not a genetic condition. I really want you guys to think about this. You know, it's not genetic, which means you're not doomed. Okay? It can be in your genes, but those don't have to be activated. It's generational. And this is very, very different, because each generation can put a stop to it and say, enough. I am ready to learn new skills, like relationship skills, emotional skills, mindset skills. I am ready to cut this right here, right now, and not have it trigger down for another 3 generations of my family.
I have a question, just a general question. How bad is depression in America today? How pervasive is it? It's my own question. I don't know the answer. I'm just interested in it. That how dominant is depression in our country today?
So most people are hiding from the word depression because they believe that it's a mental illness,
Right.
Okay, which is not. It's an emotional condition, right? Mm-hmm. A deep, heavy, and unresolved emotional wounding. So they're hiding for this word. They're hiding to acknowledge that they're depressed. But just to give you an answer, Dr. Stan,
Sure.
every 40 seconds, somebody dies by suicide in the world.
It's terrible.
Nobody kills themselves because they're happy. Okay, let's face it, right?
I've never heard the term, I died of
Exactly.
happiness.
I'm ready to kill myself because I'm dying from happiness right now, right? So just to give you an example, it is hidden, and maybe we don't have all the numbers. And maybe some people are in denial today. Maybe there won't be tomorrow. But it doesn't matter, because it is fixable. And this is exactly what we want to teach on our show.
And I think the audience is going to appreciate that. Anna has something called True Secrets of Life Academy. And so she's going to be we're going to be talking about that during the show. And we're just kind of talking about all the different points of views that you can have with that. And just a reminder, audience, just if you've just tuned in, you are listening to the True Secrets of Life with Ana Lennyr, relationship and anti-depression expert, and me, Dr. Stan, her visiting guest, our host, the business doctor. We're coming to you daily, 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. on the My Genre Radio Network. You just type in either Zeno.fm and the city you're in, and you'll get it. Or Anna says that they're working on their new website, but it's going to be TrueSecretsOfLife.com, and you can click it on and you can get excerpts from these shows.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can even join. She's got an organization that you can join. And you can, what's your organization?
So we call it True Secrets of Life Academy because it's not only one true secret of life. There are many, right? It's very simple to get caught into pain and suffering and believe that you can never escape it. It's very simple. For the last 2,000 years, we've been caught in this from the time Jesus died on the cross, right? Everybody keeps suffering. There were wars, there were pandemics, there were, all kind of, even today, right? Even today, there are wars, there are nations suffering. It's very simple to wound an entire nation in 5 minutes. Nevertheless, it's not so easy to heal each individual from pain. This is very, very different.
I think I was in the Army, and I think about PTSD, which is a condition, post-traumatic stress disorder. But isn't that part of depression also?
Yes.
Is that, I didn't mean to ask about just I'm curious.
Yes, it's actually underneath depression. So it comes even to the unconscious mind. So when we work with PTSD patients, we first help them overcome depression so the PTSD comes up to the surface to find out the real cause, which a lot of times is not what they saw in the war. It's very interesting. It's a lot of times linked to their trauma in childhood.
It's amazing. It's just so amazing. When we met, I was intrigued that you called yourself an antidepressant expert. Would you help explain what that is?
So many people, they don't have a formula to overcome depression.
Right.
They either put you on different pills or they send you to therapy forever, right? And I haven't seen, as a psychologist myself, and 20 years ago I studied psychology, I haven't seen any change in my way of thinking. I haven't seen any change in behavior. I haven't seen any change in my life. I actually was depressed about 18 years after I graduated from psychology.
Wow.
Right? So here is, we do not believe that talking ever solves a problem. We believe that doing solves a problem. This is exactly why we put this together, for everybody not only to get these secrets of life, but to ponder upon how did these happen in their life, right? This is exactly why we put together the Academy, the True Secrets of Life Academy, so we can do the doing to get the hell out. And when I'm saying get the hell out of hell. This is exactly what I mean.
Right.
Because when you're in depression, you are in hell. Very simple, right? And, this is what I do just because I was there. I took the path out, and I was just called to go back to hell and save the people that are interested in getting out. And not necessarily everybody's interested.
I got a question. Do you have a case example of some client that you had, a story about how you helped them and what the benefit was? I mean, maybe if some example comes to mind.
Everybody that we help, they change their life in a way or another.
Okay.
Our younger client was 6 years old. It took 3 months to overcome depression for him.
How old was she?
6 years old.
Just 6?
6 years old, talking
had
about
depression.
death since the age of 4. His name is
my
David,
God. Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it took us 3 months to work with a child, with the parents more precisely, to get the child out, right? But it happened. In 3 months, it was done. Our oldest client is 74 years old. Took him 9 weeks to get out of depression, okay? Change their life, right? People at the age of 68, they see so much purpose in life once they overcome depression because they never knew for 68 years what's their purpose in life. Okay, they had a tremendous potential every year of their life. They just didn't know how to uncover it, how to find it, right? Now, people around my age, 40 towards 50, they find a lot of excuses. So they take about 7 months to get out of depression, right?
Okay.
Because they have time.
Anna, we're going to get into what you do with this, but people go to therapists to deal with depression. Are you kind of like a therapist in some way, or I'm just curious?
No, we're not kind of a therapist in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Actually, we're not even listening to people's stories, okay? We're starting with, do you want to get out?
Okay.
And then during the program, we change everything. We do not change the past of a person that has encountered hardships, but we give them new perspective and we give them the solution to deal with challenges for the rest of their life starting now.
Okay.
And this is what makes a difference. From now on, every challenge you have in life, you already have a solution. So what are you looking for, right? So you already have all the skills necessary. And sometimes has to do with knowledge. And sometimes has to do with removing emotional pain. And sometimes has to do with, changing everything, the routine that you're doing in depression, the same thing over and over again, and you don't accept change. And you don't want to accept change. You want to do the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Here is sometimes, every day you do something new, even if it's stupid. It doesn't matter. You do something new. You get the brain used to doing new things to accommodate, to change, right? So it doesn't matter which way we're going, sometimes all of them, right? But what it matters is that talking never solved the problem. You need to do the doing. You need to do the work. You need to be dedicated to do it. And you need to find zero excuses. If you suffered enough, that's it.
How did you get started in doing this?
So how did I get started doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the audience, since you're going to be a daily expert, I think they'd love to know you better. This would be a good time.
So at the age of 12, I already had my emotions taking down my physical body. So what happens is when you are in a lot of suffering, you start ending up with headaches and nightmares. And then I started at the age of 14 with S-shaped scoliosis and fibromyalgia and chronic pain. And I couldn't even sit in the classroom on a chair. I had to stand for a whole year and write on my lap.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this was a 14-year-old. Towards high school and college, I couldn't sleep for 2.5 years of my life. They gave me everything. They did everything for me. Nothing worked. Pain was just another way of living, another day. It didn't matter if it was a headache, a back pain. It was just another day in life until the age of 19 when I became suicidal. Right?
Yeah. No, I'm listening.
And after I became suicidal, I took 41 sleeping pills. All I wanted to do is sleep. That's all I wanted to do is sleep. I just couldn't sleep for 2.5 years. After that, I went to University of Psychology to fix myself, to just find out that, I joke today. I tell everybody, I entered as a chicken and I exited as a cow with a lot of books in my belly, but no skills, right? The same thing that we're teaching today at the University, by the way, of Psychology, if you're studying it. Nothing different, right? So, you go through life like trying to bulldoze through life. And I have noticed that everybody was taking 5 seconds to do one thing, and for me, it was taking 5 days to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody had an easier life in relationships, in health, in making money, and for me, it was triple the effort to do the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Until the age of 38, when I was diagnosed with a disease that could have killed me. I was pre-NASH, pre-diabetic, overweight, 234 pounds, S-shaped scoliosis, hernias of discs, migraines. I was a wreck. My son was carrying me at the age of 9 from the couch to the bathroom because I could barely walk. Oh. Age 38. I thought that was normal. I actually thought that all of this is normal. This is how nicely I was playing the game of suffering. I was just totally adapted to it. Mm-hmm. It was just another day, right? Until I found out that I can die overnight. And I said, whoa, I have a kid home. I have to do something.
I think the cry for healing is pervasive in America today. I see these television ads where somebody's walking around, they're carrying this cardboard. of a false happy face, and then they have a depressed face behind that, and it says, are you really lying to yourself? And there's medication and there's help. But I also think you got to get into action and you got to take steps. And I think that's what, well, I want to go back to that. How did you overcome your depression? Because that's a question, and ended up today guiding people out of depression. That's a big story.
Yes. So I realized that everything I was doing, it did not work. Everything I was trying, I was bouncing back up, right? Mm-hmm. So I was losing some weight. I felt good for a couple of months, and then here it was bouncing back, right? Mm-hmm. No matter what I was doing, I was always coming back to it, and sometimes even harder than I was before. So I realized that I need some help. So in my cry for help, I succeeded to find 4 mentors. And I found 4 mentors because I did not believe that one is able to get me out.
Okay.
I just didn't believe that one is able to handle me, right? So I went to 4 mentors, and yes, some of those teachings were similar, and some of them were different, right? So I succeeded to get out of depression because I'm stubborn, okay? It took me 7 months. If I wouldn't have been stubborn, it would have taken me less.
Yeah.
What was amazing about it, Dr. Stan, is when I overcame depression, it was no more fibromyalgia, no more chronic pain, no more back pain, no more headaches. I lost 85 pounds in 7 months. All of this stuff was gone that defined me. So I had to relearn a new definition of me.
So what, when you say you learned a new definition of you, what does that mean?
That means I started to learn the game of life.
Okay, the thing that you help other people with today.
Exactly. Because until then, I was 100% mastering the game of suffering. Right? Mm-hmm. So I started to learn a new game. Everything from relationships, emotional balance, mindset skills, everything, how to understand my emotions, how to clear my emotions, deep ones like rejection and abandonment and heartbreak, right? I had to redefine myself in everything. And I woke up that I am this amazing woman. That is actually quite amazing, right? Which I never knew. I thought I was a nuisance. I thought I was nobody.
Wow.
Right? So when I started growing like that, at some point, I started blooming. Everything in my life changed. Now I was not working 3 to 5 times harder for what I wanted. It was coming easier, way easier. My child started to be happy, just out of the blue, just by seeing me happy. Everybody around me were like, oh my God, finally, I didn't even recognize you. It's like not you, right? So little things like that started to happen until at some point my mentors reached to me and said, you should do this particular job and help others. I was like, who, me? You know exactly what I went through. You know exactly how much I suffered. There is no way I'm going back to hell. I escaped hell. That's it. I'm running high as far as I can. And they said, no. You'd really need to do it. And the reason why you need to do it is because now you know what works. I'm like, what do you mean? We did not know how to help you. We actually threw everything we had at you. We just tried to help you, but we didn't know what sticked and what did not stick. Now you know what works and what doesn't work. You can put it all together, reverse engineer, and build a strategy for everyone out there.
Kind of build a practice to help other people.
Exactly. And now, not only that we build a practice to help other people, we build that practice automatically through online courses. It's so easy, right? When you're ready to learn another game of life, a very different one than you played before.
One of the things I want to tell the audience as we get close to break now is that when we first started the show, we said, Anna said, a reminder that the truth is not always easy to hear, and these true secrets of life she'll share with you are not necessarily what you want to hear. Nevertheless, it's what you need to hear to avoid heartbreak, anxiety, and depression in your life. And this is part of Anna's regular show where we approach it from a lot of different angles and talk about the true secrets of life. So, Anna, we're almost ready to break here. Jimmy's holding up that we're learning the engineering thing. It's 1 minute to break. So, audience, one last time, Anna, if they want to get a hold of you for more information, could you one more time tell them how to do that?
The easiest way to reach us is through truesecretsoflife.com. Mm-hmm. And yes, we have too many clients already, and the only ones that I can take under my wing to help them individually one-on-one is the ones that join our academy. Okay.
And you set up the academy as kind of a forum for everybody to
Exactly. Everybody can come in, and we have videos, we have one-on-one meetings, we have everything to help every one person. Every question that you need answer, it's very simple to just go through the academy, and I will answer it personally because I will be there live with you.
I encourage you, if you've never heard this type of show before, to tune into Anna and begin to enjoy the experience of helping you map out things. Who will show you how to prevent and overcome heartbreak, anxiety, and depression. With Anna, you discover how to live the life you deserve and desire with Anna. And Anna, when we were back on the show, I want to remind the audience, if you'd like to hear these shows, they're on every... So Anna, when we last left off, we were talking about how you overcame depression and ended up guiding people out of depression. So what would be, without giving the whole farm away, what would be typical steps that you would help somebody if they go, oh, Anna, I'm depressed and I don't know how to get out of it? Is there just maybe a sample of the kind of steps you put somebody through, or some example you can give that helps them?
Yes, and I do want to give away all the formula. That's why we're here, okay? Because we really, really want to share that this is possible. They're true secrets of life that once you know them, you cannot close your eyes to. You know them for life. They don't go anywhere. Once you're out of depression, forever, you're out of it. It's not, you cannot slip back. You cannot not know something that you have learned, right? So, yes, I would like to give a whole formula away, Dr. Stan. All of it, okay? That's why we're here.
You go, girl. That's why we're here. You're the expert.
The first step, and some people do not know if they're depressed or they're not, or at what level of depression they are. There are different types of level of depression. So the first step is to learn relationships with yourself and others, to master these relationships. So most people in the world, they do not know that 4 types of women and there are 4 types of men in this world. And how to get along with them, and how to not have a horrible divorce, and how to understand your child, which might be different archetype, a different type of man or woman than you are, right? So here is, you identify who you are in the positives and the negatives, right? And you identify who everybody is. It's only 4 types of men, 4 types of women. This is not a rocket science. You're not learning 500 types of people, right? But once you know the positive and the negative, guess what? You're going to stay away from the negative, right? Because you see it, you know about it. And you're going to stay away as a person, as well as you're going to stay away from the people in the negative part.
You're going to learn the triggers, I think would be the word I was thinking, that affect you, right?
You're going to learn that hurt people, right? And the negative is only set up by hurt and pain.
Okay.
So once somebody is a narcissist, these people have been hurt. They had to hide their own shame, and they have to put a mask on. And yes, they're hurting people today because deep down they're hurt. You're not going to fix them. but it can help you stay away from them. And that's perfect. That's what you need, because you don't need heartbreak, okay? You don't need huge, big divorces. You don't need kids with these people, right? So here is how you start with mastering relationship for yourself and with others. And here is where heartbreak can be stopped, prevented and stopped. Depression can be stopped. Anxiety can be stopped. Here is where you can stop a lot of things.
Okay.
Right? So this is why we're starting at this point, because some people think they're depressed when they're just a little bit heartbroken. They don't know what is the relationships. They don't know how to master relationship with themselves and others, right? So at some point they wake up as like, oh, now I understand everything. I'm not really depressed. I thought I was. Right?
Right.
So big, big difference. The second step into mastering relationships is to understand your emotional balance. Do you have it or you do not have it? How do you deal with worry, anger, anxiety, right? These are things that people think that, oh, I'm just angry, I'm just going to hide it. No. You shouldn't hide it, because it's going to turn up into your child having anxiety because you are hiding your anger.
You transfer it back to them.
Exactly, because depression is a generational condition. It comes down the line, right? So here is, no, you do not just hide it. You need to resolve it in a way or another. That doesn't mean to be angry at people and start screaming, okay? People will lock you up. Don't do that, right? So here is, how do you find reasonable ways to deal with your anger, all right? Because if you have too much anger, this will hurt you physically, specifically at the gland level, at the liver level, at the digestive level. You will have a lot of medical issues because you don't know how to deal with it. You're hiding it underneath it.
Right.
And you're just exploding once in a while, okay? And everybody runs away from you when you explode, okay? Right? But as an idea, this will hurt you physically if you keep doing it. Right?
People don't seem to get the idea that it's self-destructive. They
Yes.
don't understand
Yes.
that if you're going to have to identify it if it's happening to you.
Exactly.
How are you going to deal with it if you don't identify it? You know?
And the same is worry and anxiety. I just had a client who came, he said, I have a brain disease. I'm like, okay, you had worry and anxiety all your life. How do you know? Very simple. You haven't solved them. And now it turned into a brain disease.
It really was
Yes.
brain disease? Oh,
Yes.
my. Okay.
Okay? So because she did not know how to handle it, she had almost 50 years of her life to learn how to manage worry and anxiety. And she did not know that. I'm like, why didn't you come to me earlier? Why didn't you come last year? So this will not turn into a brain disease.
What did she say?
She didn't even know I exist. She was not looking for me. She thought she was fine. The worry and anxiety, everybody has it. No, it hurts you. It physically can hurt you. It can escalate into something like a brain disease. Very simple, right?
Yeah.
So, these are things that you need to identify and you need to know how to deal with, including how to teach your children to deal with if you have children, right? These are things that they need to know as strategies in their life.
So when you're helping the people, it sounds like the very first thing you go is you've got to, I'm just thinking as a professor, and my mind is linear. I think of point A, point B, point C. I mean, I'm systematic. And how it sounds to me is when you first sit down with a client, you've got to get them to recognize, hey, these are your issues that you have, so you can start, am I wrong, and dealing with the issues. First, you got to identify it in order to deal with it. Now, if I'm off, you tell me.
By the time they come to us, they're
Uh-huh.
desperate because they tried everything and nothing works. All right.
Sad,
So
yeah.
it's when they are really agreeing to listen. I did master the game of suffering for all my life. I'm ready to learn a different game. I'm ready to learn how to live.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I said, everything you know about life is garbage. I said, what do you mean? Now we're turning your garbage into gold. You let the garbage go, and we're going to turn it around. And your garbage will become your gold. Because you're going to have to learn new things, like mastering relationships, like mastering your emotions. Identify them and mastering them, right? The proper way. And the third one is, linked to this step number 1, which is a huge one, is when you are heartbroken, when you don't get along with people, you don't know who you are, you don't understand yourself, right? And when you have all these emotions of anger and anxiety and worry, and you try to hide them because you don't know what to do with them, what you're going to do with them. You're not going to tell people, hey, I have anxiety every day. Who cares? It's your anxiety, after all, right? So at this point, okay, there are mind traps that will keep you in suffering.
It's so sad. I mean, it's just sad.
Yes. And there are 17 mind traps, main ones, prisons of your mind that will keep you in suffering. And just to give you an example, Dr. Stan, the first one is I can't do it. And I said, why you can't do it? If somebody did it before you, you can do it too. If nobody did it before you, you can be the first.
Yeah.
Why you cannot do it?
What do they say?
Their mind keeps them trapped. Oh, you overcame depression, but I cannot. Of course you can. I gave you the entire formula. Go for it. Start. Who stops you?
How do they react when you say that?
They're shocked. It's like, really? I can do this? Of course you can do this. You have me behind. Okay, you're not by yourself trying to bounce back and try this and that and the other, and you just don't know which way to go. You have me behind you. I will guide you. I will tell you exactly how you feel at every moment. And when you're ready to quit, you get that phone call from me. Oh, were you thinking about this? How do you know? Because I did the same thing. I went through the same bridge from hell, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So here is this is a very, very important step. We call it skills that insulate you from depression. And this is what the kids need to never be depressed. Relationship skills, emotional skills, and acknowledge the mindset traps that can get you trapped, seriously trapped in like 17 jails, sabotaging yourself every day. Knowing you're great, but you can't get there. Knowing you have potential, but how do I reach it? Playing the game of suffering, not playing the game of life.
That's
right?
step number
So this is a full step.
Step.
In three smaller steps, right? But this is the first part of a formula. And a lot of times this is enough for people to overcome depression.
Really?
A lot of times this is enough because what they didn't have is these particular skills that are learnable to never slip in depression.
When you're working, didn't mean to interrupt the steps, but when you're working with a client, if somebody calls because they heard the radio show and they say, Anna, I need your help, and you start to work with them, so you in a method approach, take them through this to identify it and then to deal with it. It sounds like first you identify it and then you deal with it.
Yes.
And those techniques you show them help them, I guess the word would be get on the right track.
Yes.
Because it's just how I'm assembling it in my head when there was times when I hit a low point in my life that you would have been good.
Yes.
Nobody, the people, the psychiatrists was going, how are you feeling this week? Are you having any symptoms?
You're feeling like crap. I want not to feel like crap anymore.
Yeah, well, then you know what they do? They say, well, then we got to increase your medicines.
No. You don't have to increase your medicine. So every time when you are in a low moment of life, and, this is a 3-step formula, okay? Very simple. More skills need to be acquired, more healing has to be done, and more action needs to be taken. But you need to know in which direction. Right? Which way you go. So once you have learned all these skills that I showed you right now that are insulating people from depression, you know exactly at which point you are. Which one of these 3 you need.
Right.
So here is, you learn it once and you don't need me to babysit you in a year when you're going to feel a little bit low. because you already have your own formula.
Right.
You already know yourself. Already know where you are, who you are, right? And you're not going to let some, person, in the traffic that screams at you, put you down. That's not going to happen when you're raising your self-esteem.
Okay. So are we 3 steps into
This is a one big step with 3 steps, yes.
Okay.
One big
so
step,
that's
right.
and what step is that now? Number 3?
Yeah. So now we're talking about step number 2, which is also a huge one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this comes in 5 steps.
Wow.
Okay. This
I
comes
feel
in-
like I'm in school,
Yes,
Anna.
I'm sorry, there is a formula. It's not like cook-a-doo, start dancing, turning around, and you think you're going to be happy tomorrow.
Kumbaya, we go singing.
Exactly. There is work to be done. You didn't end up in depression overnight. You're not going to get overnight out.
Well said. Yeah.
Okay? Very simple. But it's not going to take decades. It
Yeah.
might take weeks to do some work to get out.
I'm going to ask Jimmy, do you got engineers that you know that are depressed? he just said yes. He's our chief engineer. Jimmy.
Everybody is depressed in a way or
Jimmy,
another.
we just found out we're not alone anymore. He said he agrees. We're all depressed. We're all in there. And we're going, oh, my God, I could have done this.
Yeah, it's simple, right?
Yes.
So the step number 2 has 5 steps to it.
Okay.
And the reason why it has 5 steps to it is because depression is deep, heavy, and unresolved emotional wounding. It's not a mental illness, guys. You relax. Okay? There is nothing wrong with you. Okay? You have a job, you function in society, you're good. Okay?
Okay.
There are a lot of mentally ill people. Okay? There are shooters and in jails and things like that. There are many of them. Okay?
Many, I agree.
But that has nothing to do with members of society that are contributing to work, to job, to raising kids. It has nothing to do with it, right?
Okay.
So when I said that depression is deep, heavy, and unresolved emotional wounding, I also gave you the definition how to get out of it. Okay? So you practically have to retrieve these emotional wounds. You have to fix it, resolve it, and you have to release it.
Is that
Let
part
them
of the
go.
5 steps?
Yes.
Okay.
So the 5 steps have to do with all these 5 emotional wounds. That's what depression is, 5 emotional wounds. And you can have 3, you can have 4, you can have 5. If you're depressed, you usually have 3. When you're suicidal, you have 5. Okay, it's already all of them,
Sure.
right?
No, I
True, this
agree.
is how it is, right? So here is, I am not going to guess, or you're not going to guess, which one you have and which one you don't. It's only 5. It's not 50, it's not 500, it's not 5,000.
Right, right.
We fix them all.
Fix them all. Got it.
Fix them all. Okay?
Okay.
Because you never know when you're going to encounter another one. And you need to know the formula yourself. You need to be able to help yourself. When you are going to school, you're learning first with a teacher how to do the math exercise. At some point, you need to do it yourself. And this is exactly how I guide people. You do it with me first, and that's it. You don't need babysitter for the rest of your life. Right?
Right.
So the 5 emotional wounds are rejection, humiliation, abandonment, betrayal, that has to do with heartbreak, and perfectionism or injustice at society level.
Okay.
Like what happens right now with the Ukrainians, that's injustice,
Right.
right? It's hurting them as a nation. It's
Right.
unjust what happens to them, right? Each one has its own way of healing. Its own way of healing. Each one has to be taken separate, not ignored, not put under the rug, okay? And you can usually tell after a person's body type which one has which one. It's very interesting. It's amazing how these actually, show you in your body type in the mirror when you look at it, which one you have. But it doesn't matter for me because it takes 40 seconds for somebody to kill themselves. Okay? It takes less than a minute for them to make that decision and 40 seconds to die. So here we heal it all to be done and over with, so nobody will be in these traps anymore.
Okay.
Right? So this is a big step number 2 that has 5 steps itself.
Right.
And then we have number 3.
Okay.
And that has a lot to do with how do you change your life? How do you want to change your life? And this is an individual step for each person out there. Because a person in depression, hurt, they don't know what they want. I remember when my mentors asked me, write down 100 wishes and call me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So after you finish the 100 wishes, you call me. Yes, sir. After 3 weeks, he calls me. Did you finish? No, about number 20. So here is how it's easy to not know what you want because you've been playing the game of suffering. You've never played the game of life, right?
So are we going to have, we got about 2.5 minutes to go. Are we going to have time to get it all out? Do you want to?
No, we're done.
You're done?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Now we're cured?
So these are the 3 steps of overcoming depression.
Well, I think what's interesting is because you're going to be talking about this on future shows.
Yes, of course.
Yes. And so I don't think people can hear it often enough. First time they hear it, it's like a commercial. Oh, that's new information, But, and they say, oh, I don't know. Then they hear it again. They go, oh, I get it. And then number 3 is, oh, I think they've said that in commercials, it takes 13 times before somebody picks up the phone.
It's okay.
13 times.
It's okay because we're here every day.
Yeah, you're here every day. I think what's going to be interesting with this new show, Anna, is we're reaching out across America. We're also reaching out into the military, which I really think we need to do, and we will be. And Anna's a nationwide personality, and she's international. But, as a relationship and antidepressant expert, we're going to have her on the show, and she's going to be airing a new topic every week. And I really think as an audience, you need to hear it. Really quickly, Anna, one last time, how do they get a hold of you if they want to connect?
TrueSecretsOfLife.com. You can join our academy. But one thing to remember, a very important thing to remember, is that you don't have to play the game of suffering anymore. You can learn the game of life. And another thing to remember, very important, you deserve to live the life you desire.
And you're going to hear that a lot on our shows.
Welcome to GoingSoloTravelers.com. Going Solo Travelers is about connecting, making new friends, exploring, and enjoying new fun times together. Laughter and the excitement of seeing and exploring something new creates memories that will last forever. Come join us on GoingSoloTravelers.com.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.